everyone, welcome to Changing. My name is Donald Kelly and I'm your host, and I'm super excited to have you join us today. This podcast is designed to help individuals like you and me draw closer to Christ, to change and to become better individuals. If this is your first time listening to our podcast or watching one of our videos, go ahead and subscribe. If you know someone who could benefit from this show, go ahead and tell them about it. Today on this episode, we're going to talk particularly about what you can do as a mere mortal, someone like you and me who mess up all the time, help someone else change. Because one of the questions that people will share is like, look at me. I'm not perfect. How would somebody even listen to me? Or I don't even know what to do. How can I help someone change? And I want to share with you some ideas today that can help you with that. Now, if there's one principle that you get from today's episode, I'd love to hear what that is. You can go ahead and send me a message, Donald C. Kelly, at donaldckelly09@gmail.com. Couldn't remember my email address there for a second. It's donaldckelly09@gmail.com. You can go ahead and drop me a message, or you can connect with me on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. It would be an absolute honor to connect with you. So let's dive in and let's start talking about it. I am not perfect. I mess up. You and I both make mistakes. I mean, for instance, you probably could go back and think about it. What are some of the mistakes that you made today? What are some of the things that you felt short of? And you probably can write down a big list, if you're like me, of things maybe you thought, or perhaps things that you said that you could have said differently, or perhaps things that you did. Maybe you sped a little bit than you're supposed to. You broke a law when it comes towards, driving, turned the wrong direction. I mean, there's so many different things that we may do that are mistakes. And sometimes we have sins of omission, like things that we didn't realize was a sin and we made a mistake on that. So you can't beat yourself up on that. So that's the first thing that I want you to understand. And if you think about it, like, go back into the scriptures. You find me a perfect person besides Jesus Christ in the scriptures. I'll give you time to go back. Can't find any. I mean, look at Moses, for goodness sakes. Moses, he actually was a murderer, technically. He killed someone who was hurting one of the Hebrews. Go back to even beyond that. I mean, Moses actually broke the commandments, the first 10 commandments that God gave. He took the tablets. He was so upset and he threw them down and broke them. He made a mistake. You could find countless examples. I mean, a lot of the children of Israel didn't get a chance to get into the promised land because of the issues that they had. And the Lord promised that they won't be able to do that. And you can find this in countless other ways. You can look at people such as, even Abraham. He had his challenges. You look at the apostles that Christ had in the New Testament. My goodness, they all had different challenges. Paul was a persecutor, and he was going around killing Christians or initiating the process, putting them in jails and all kinds of, evil doings. So you can find so many different examples, but here's a critical part. The step number 2 is that all of these people had a desire to change, and they did change. They improved. They became better. Because of that betterance, if that's a word, because of that improvement that they've done, or things that they have, the journey that they went on, they wanted to help others. They've seen the challenges, they've experienced the difficulties, and they knew the pain, so they were able to help others. So with that being said, the third point, think about how many people don't know the light or where to find the truth because they're blinded by darkness. You at least have some light. You at least have some knowledge. You at least have some truth. You at least know right from wrong. Can you at least share that with them and both walk on this journey together to improve and become a better disciple of Jesus Christ? Of course you can. And that's the big part. Know that you are a sinner. Number 2, recognize that others have made mistakes. Number 3, realize that there are people who don't know where to find it. And number 4, just share what you know, and you can help each other. Now, I want to give you several things that you can do, easy things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to help someone to come onto Christ. The first one is obviously set a better example. I mean, if you're striving every single day to improve, set an example. So one of those things you can do is say a prayer, or you might go ahead and read your scriptures daily. Now, all of these things, you're not doing it to be seen by others. But when you do that, the Spirit of the Lord is able to be with you, and he's able to prompt you and guide you throughout the day, and you're able to make better decisions. Number 2, you can simply just invite someone to do something with you. So let's say you're both trying to change together. I mean, maybe invite someone to participate in a group Bible study that you have, or come to a church meeting that you have, or maybe come to a church activity, or, maybe it's an AA club, or you're going through AA and somebody else is going through that. I mean, what's a better way to help somebody come and change by inviting them to participate in that journey with you? I mean, Jesus taught us to come follow me, right? That's what he said, right? Come follow him and do what he does. And why don't we do the same thing? Or, there's a service or organization called Just Serve. You can go ahead and find their information. We have it in our show notes. But justserve.org, they have tons of service opportunities. And if you're trying to help a brother or sister, or, not necessarily blood brother or sister, but someone in Christ to become better, or maybe they're not even have no desire to go to church yet, why don't you get them to serve? People love to help their local community. At the recording of this episode, in the Midwest of the United States, there are a lot of floodings going on in different parts of the country, and people they're in dire need. They need support. There are American Red Cross groups, there are local different charities and organizations. Can you be a part of those and help someone to find alleviate some of the pain or alleviate some of the challenges or difficulties that they're facing? I mean, of course, service is an awesome way to be able to do that. Number 3 is your testimony. However little that testimony is. I mean, some people have had testimonies like, they significantly changed. They were homeless and, causing all kinds of stuff in jail. And, we've had people on our podcast who have experienced some of those wild, stories or experiences. But that story is not, their testimony is not that much different from someone who may never have been in jail or been homeless. Seriously, think about this. If you found Christ, if you found a better way, if you started to change your life, I mean, isn't that worth it? Isn't that powerful? Isn't that the Spirit can witness of truth no matter what your story is? But oftentimes they don't know that. Other people don't know that because we don't share it with them. We don't open our mouth. We don't testify. We don't share that light or the enlightenment. I mean, even if the simple fact that you had a potty mouth and you changed from that and now you're a better person, that testimony, when you share that with someone and the Spirit's presence, I mean, that's like dynamite. That's going to be explosive. That's powerful. Just as much as if it was Jermaine, Ward, who shared his story of going to jail and how he was able to, come back out of jail and found Christ. Like, it doesn't matter what your story is. It's a matter of the Spirit's there. So once you recognize that you're imperfect and you make mistakes, recognize also the Lord can use you. And then a final thing that you can do to tell people is just invite them. A lot of times people don't change because they don't have that guidance or that somebody to prompt them. So, maybe they're your friend or you have a family member or a colleague or some mentee or a mentor, and they need Christ. They need God in their life. They need to change. They know they need to, but they're afraid or don't know how to, or they have difficulty. Imagine if you were able to listen to the Spirit because you're studying every day and you're praying, and the Spirit was able to guide you. Imagine what kind of impact you can have on that one individual to help them draw closer to Christ. I mean, there are tons of different things that you can do. I mean, tons of a big impact that you can have on that individual. And there's so many different things that you can do. And I only labeled a few here today. But I'd love to hear from you which one of these things makes sense to you, or if this doesn't make sense. The thought here is no matter who you are, no matter what you have done, no matter what you are doing, even if you're in the act of sinning right now, you can change. And Christ has died for you and for me. So why don't we, he's used imperfect people ever since the dawn of time. Why can't he use you to help impact or change somebody else's life? I testify he can. I know he lives. And I know no matter what you've done, you can help someone to change. Share your story with him. Test it out today. I would love to hear how you've done that. I'd love to hear what you feel which one of these ideas you'll try. And I would love to just hear from you. You can send me an email, donaldckelly09@gmail.com. We pop it up on the screen down below so you can see that if you're watching a podcast. If you're listening on Apple or one of these other platforms or Spotify, go ahead and check the show notes and you can go ahead and send me an email. Just send me, hey, Donald, love the episode today. I'd appreciate that. As always, thank you. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, thank you again for being here, for listening to this episode today and taking part in this podcast. It truly means a lot when we get a chance to share a message and to help individuals like you and me to improve. We're all trying to improve. If you know someone that could benefit from this show, go ahead and copy the link to this episode and send it to them. Just let them watch it, let them listen to it, and just tell them you love them. That could be a simple thing that you can do. We all can change, and we all are changing. We are all imperfect. Only Christ is perfect. Let's go on to him and have him guide us. If you pray to him, I promise you, he'll give you that power and the strength that you need to be able to work miracles, not only in your life, but in others' life as well. If you need prayer, you need some guidance, you want to hear an inspiring message about Christ, how you can draw closer to him, let me know. And we can have some missionaries come by and share a message with you. Find my information down below in the show notes. As always, Christ is going to come back again. I know that. And when he does, I want to be on his right-hand side. And I want you to be there with me as well. I know this is true, and I testify of that in the name of Jesus Christ. See ya.